Today we are going to learn about Manish Poudwal, who is the executive director and supporting the top management of the organizations. When we talked about his achievements throughout his journey, we found a very good, interesting, successful success stories. This was his taken in considerations with our unit panels, and we are here to teach and learn how these people become very successful in the organizations. So the global cell presence looks after the various very long activities that are being published here. Subcontractors India Private Limited, Subtronics India Private Limited. An interesting success that this conversation is about how the subcontractors was being achieved, how to motivate and get the electronics into the areas, how the alcoholic was being breathed in and analysis that was being discovered, how they work, how to create a brand subtronics setups, the trainings and the developments, the importance, how the company is taking the next steps for leading based on their higher level strategies used for the marketing business expansions, strategic for the success of the service, as well as the management in the productivities and planning and controlling. This was very good conversations covering about the several areas. And in this conversation, Mr. Manish Poudwal, who is a technical director, has given a very good understandings on and career aspirations as well as the motivations. He is the qualified engineer. He has done the business management and has gained interest in the electronics and business developments. Subtronics is the private limited subcontractors where they looks into the several areas, contractual managements, contractual flows, the contractual regulations, where they is also certified into ISOs. And this they also looks after and awards the business organizations across the designs, manufactures, and supplying of the gas detected systems, smoke detectors, breathing the alcohol analysis, metal detectors, insect killers, ultrasonic best represent repellents and electronic faster. Mr. Portwell, who is a technical director, is giving a good having as he's a qualified engineers. So welcoming to the institutes of the distance learning programs, where as a part of the ongoing activities and the process, this is one more initiatives for taking an understandings and it is wherein and sharing the knowledge from the variety of industry speakers. And we are having very fortunate to have such a good person who has only electrons in his blood, that is made his body is made up of electronic segments and not RBCs and WBCs, a brand that is known to many of the dignitaries who has almost got 4,500 customers, well-reputed brands who SMEs type of the business, mid-sized companies, but the industry usage is so vast that was being started in the 1970s for by his dad, but being the legacy is getting transferred from the dad to the next generation. The beauty of the presence is one of the st- DLP, and the people starts of nurturing and getting the conclusions for giving us the understandings, giving us the share for giving the expertise and the experiences what the electronic segments is all about and how we will be converting into electronic from the traditional to the professionally managed organizations. So, Manish Poudwal is the technical director of contracts and giving the situations analysis as well as the briefing of the solutions. It is a honor to having such a discussions with the lighter moments as a person and industries, how this legacy is being getting transferred to his dad like the global front. So beginning with a small analysis as to how his family came to this field of the electronics. Was there any support for this families and how he got into these processes? Definitely, what happened was basically his father, that maternal uncle, he was into the scientists with NASA's India Electronics divisions, and that's where he used to interact with the metal uncle and used to go into the many places. He has written the good books. He has read many things about electronics, the popular electronics, and he's not understanding about. He has interest into the businesses, and his interest was into the business electronics. He used to go through the books. He started off with the metal uncles where the popular things, the radio, which was later called as the transistor. So it was in the 1960s, late mid 60s, or the earlier 60s, where it was talking about metal uncle used to get some radio for the rippers. He used to crook and get them out of it, and of course, he used to get nurtured. Uh, as the education, he was having the educations into the engineerings. Way back was in school. He's made first made into the schools where he made in a mom's box. So that was everybody taking into and the old back volume into the technologies was being used, and when he come up with the electronic comes, he has become the qualified. He has deployed into the London also. So he was educated in the field of electronics, and he was the passion more than anything else. That was the friend. So that's how he has gone up front. So meaning and the nurturing into the segments like work experiences, putting off into the business brand. There was the areas where the grandparents, where he was the freedom fighter. The Subtronics was established, was the and his grandfather was used to work into Mary Marathi seniors theaters. So that was not much money into the family, but he knew that he was having a technical mind, and he always wanted to nurture interest into electronics. He used to get off into the ideas where other ideas, some ideas will be something new. And in fact, what he started and how he started was he's made a radio, and he's sold to the famous celebrity, in fact, for the free of rupees, 3 rupees. So he actually made it for the 50 paise which he borrowed for the grandmother, and the profit made he made, and that's how he another made further. So right from the day when he was having that, he wanted to become the entrepreneur, and he also wanted worked as a private detective in the. He also pursued and studied into the cinema projects and repairs. The cinema project was just popping up in India, and most of the Dinas, Minervas that he has done, all the installations he has done. So he was the head technicians there. So he used to call and in terms of the emergencies, and he was of course the master of the arts. That's how he wanted and make up the situations, and he got into the electronics where he wanted into the electronics and pulled him. But he was very focused. He was going to do his own businesses, and that's how he married, and later it took away. And before and getting into the enterprise, he has come across many n number of obstacles, whether it can be the customer complaints, finance, and as a management functions perspective, there were many where management was and into this related field. How he could manage to understand the dynamics as a business process. So there was a situation that he was a one-man army. He used to own. And he used to start at first, he borrowed a place in a terrace of one of the relatives, and he started with a business with a table and a chair. There was a table that he wanted to do his own business, and he also narrates and says that the situation was so, in fact, the financial situations, that the party paid him the checks of 2000 rupees, very 200 rupees, and the bank deposit that there were no strict norms, and the client called them that he have paid him more, and he has to go into the situations. I will give him the for the travel for the 2000. He was not having that much money, so he always collect his check and he will refund it. So this was the days back where out money, there was less money, and there was a grounds up for the situations, and eventually the people who helped them with the blessings. In fact, whatever is there today, he has come to the state that uh, was situation and situation circumstances that he got. Actually, he came into the picture where he came into the pictures, and there was the situations, whatever the books or the couple of, there was many people to be successful. There is always a dialogue practice, and it could be five, it could be a woman, but it could be a support function from the mom. He actually, his mom was the failure for him, and his success would have not reached heights if not mom has not supported him. So there were having less experience and nowadays, but they had to stay. They, there were very hardships, and the people were into the much stronger hard steps into the situations. There were complete synergies. She has understood about her visions, and she has also understood and we supported his visions. And he has to be become situation analysis. So when it comes to the played into the mind that he come into the business, he has to come up with the situations, and there were many of the laws.